Hey y'all, and we're back. So, um, 1 year Bible plan. So yesterday we did Genesis 1 through 3, Genesis chapter 1 through Genesis chapter 3, and today we're doing Genesis chapter 4 through Genesis chapter 5, verse 32. So January 2nd. 1 year Bible plan. Get devoted with me. So don't ask me about yesterday's video. I tried. Only way it can get uploaded, it got uploaded on TikTok and it got uploaded on YouTube. So you want to catch up on yesterday? TikTok or YouTube? Couldn't do Facebook. I tried. So moving right along. A recap on yesterday. So, recap on yesterday, God made the heavens and the earth. He formed the man. In Genesis chapter 2, it goes a little bit in detail, in depth on how God really formed Adam, gave him his assignment, how he formed the animals the same way he formed man with the dust of the ground. Chapter 3, sin enters the world, and yeah, Eve got deceived. Adam didn't lead properly. But Eve also knew what she was doing. Snake get cursed. Adam, Eve get kicked out of Eden. Boom. God said, look, he know a little bit too much. And if his eyes open completely, he's going to eat from the tree of life. And we can't have that. So Adam got the roll. Him and his wife, they got to go. So God kicks Adam and Eve out of Eden. And God set a cherub angel. And I believe it was a sword of fire around the entrance to protect the tree of life. So ain't nothing getting in, ain't nothing going out. Strict program. So that was recap from yesterday. Today we're reading Genesis chapter 4 and Genesis chapter 5 all the way through. So Genesis chapter 4 verse 1. Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Cain. Eve said, with the Lord's help, I have made a man. Pause. So Adam and Eve get kicked out of Eden. First thing this man do had sex with his wife. I guess you gotta get some kind of pleasure after that. Ain't nothing wrong with Adam. Verse 2. Eve gave birth again to Cain's brother Abel. Abel became a shepherd and Cain became a farmer. So a shepherd is basically someone who looks after, guard, and protects sheep. So that was Abel that was looking after, guarding, and protecting sheep, and Cain was the farmer. Verse 3. At harvest time, Cain brought a gift to the Lord. He brought some of the food that he grew from the ground. But Abel brought some animals from his flock. He chose some of his best sheep and brought the best parts of them. Brought the best parts from them. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his offering. Cain was sad because of this, and he became very angry. The Lord asked Cain, why you angry? Why do your face look so sad? You know that if you do what is right, I'll accept you. But if you don't, sin is ready to attack you. That sin will want to control you, but you must control it. Pause. So God's trying to put Cain up on game right now. He like, look, for one, I'm not obligated. This is God to accept your bare minimum. What Abel gave was clearly acceptable in the sight of the Lord, and is giving Cain tried the bare minimum. God, like, look, I don't have to accept that from you. Like, do what's right, and I welcome you with open arms. But until then, sin is knocking at your door, buddy. And you need to control it before it control you. So when it comes to this, the devil don't have anything to do with this. This is sin. Why people be like, well, why did God sacrifice his son instead of the devil? The devil ain't got that much power. Yeah, he deceived Eve in the beginning, but this Cain and Abel, we're talking about first murder in the Bible. This is sin. We're talking about this is much bigger than a little sneaky serpent. Verse 8. Cain said to his brother Abel, let's go out to the field. So they went to the field. Then Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Can you say warning before destruction? Verse 9. Later the Lord said to Cain, where is your brother Abel? Cain answered, I don't know. Is it my job to watch over my brother? So now your mouth getting smart. Verse 10, then the Lord said, what have you done? You killed your brother and the ground opened up to take his blood from your hands. Now his blood is shouting to me from the ground, so you will be cursed from this ground. Now you will work the soil. The ground will not help you, will not help your plants grow. You will not have a home in this land. You will wander from place to place. So basically, the ground is working against Cain. So Cain is working the soil, but the ground is working against him because he's cursed. On top of that, he's getting homeless. God said you would not have a home in this land, so you're just going to be wandering around. Verse 13, then Cain said to the Lord, this punishment is more than I can bear. Well, you should have thought about that when you go and murder your brother. After God and I already warned you, don't do that. Verse 14, you are forcing me to leave the land, and I will not be able to be near you or have a home. Now I must wander from place to place, and anyone I meet could kill me. Oh, now you want to play victim. Well, what about the real victim that you just murdered, your brother? Verse 15, then the Lord said to Cain, no, if anyone kills you, I'll punish that person much, much more. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain to show that no one should kill him. God is so merciful. Verse 16, Cain went away from the Lord and lived in the land of Nod. Verse 17, Cain had sexual relations with his wife. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son named Enoch. Cain built the city and gave the city the same name as his son Enoch. You know what's so funny? Soon as these ninjas get kicked out the land, they go and have sex. Like, they gotta find some kind of pleasure out the deal. Like, just like your daddy. Verse 18. Enoch had a son named Irad. Irad had a son named Mahuiel. Mahuiel had a son named Methushael. And Methushael had a son named Lamech. Lamech married two women. So far, Lamech is the first man in the Bible that had two wives. Lamech married two women. One wife was named Adah, and the other was named Zillah. Adah gave birth to Jabal. Jabal was the father of people who lived in tents and earned their living by keeping cattle. Jabal was Jubal's brother. Jubal was the father of people who played a harp and flute. Zillah gave birth to Tubal-Cain. Tubal-Cain was the father of people who worked with bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Verse 23, Lamech said to his wives, give me a second, Ice. Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, you wives of Lamech. Listen to me. A man hurt me, so I killed him. I even killed a child for hurting me. He said, I even killed a child for hitting me. The punishment for killing Cain was very bad, but the punishment for killing me would be many times worse. This man is so arrogant. Hold on, so Lamech is, let me see, what number descendant is this? Okay, so Cain is the daddy of Enoch. So we got Cain, then Enoch, then Mahuiel got Methusael gave Lamech. So Lamech is speaking of Cain, but at this point Cain is his, that'll be his daddy, that'll be his granddaddy, that'll be his great granddaddy. So Cain is Lamech's great great granddaddy. So he's speaking of his great great granddaddy at this point. He like, look, the price for killing my great great granddaddy was bad, but the punishment for killing me will be many times worse. I hear you, Lamech. Verse 25, Adam again had sexual relations with his wife, and she gave birth to another son. She named him Seth. Eve said, God has given me another son. Cain killed Abel, but now I have Seth. Seth also had a son. He named him Enosh. At that time, people began to pray to the Lord. Genesis chapter 5. This is the history of Adam's family. So, verse 1 it says, this is the history of Adam's family. When God created people, he made them like himself. He created them male and female. And on the same day he made them, he blessed them and called them humans. Verse 3, after Adam was 130 years old, he had another son. This son looked just like Adam. Adam named his son Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. So Adam lived a total of 930 years, then he died. Pause. So it seems like Seth is like the promised child at this point because Cain done killed Abel. Abel gone. God, God done cursed Cain. Cain gone. So now it's just Adam and Eve. So they done had this another son, Seth, which is he's not the firstborn. He's like the third born, but he is other. Seth got other brothers and sisters too. So Adam and Eve had other children, but Seth is like the next born after Cain and Abel. So boom. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. So Adam lived a total of 930 years, then he died. Verse 6. After Seth was 105 years old, he had a son named Enosh. After Enosh was born, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. So Seth lived a total of 912 years, then he died. Verse 9, after Enosh was 90 years old, he had a son named Kenan. After Kenan was born, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. So Enosh lived a total of 905 years, then he died. After Kenan was 70 years old, he had a son named Mahalalel. Mahalalel, I think is his name. After Mahalalel was born, Kenan lived 840 years and had other sons and daughters. So Kenan lived a total of 910 years, then he died. Verse 15, when Mahalalel was 65 years old, he had a son named Jared. After Jared was born, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. So Mahalalel lived a total of 895 years, then he died. Verse 18, after Jared was 162 years old, he had a son named Enoch. After Enoch was born, Jared lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. So Jared lived a total of 962 years, then he died. After Enoch was 65 years old, he had a son named Methuselah. After Methuselah was born, Enoch walked with God for 300 years and had other sons and daughters. So Enoch lived a total of 365 years. One day Enoch was walking with God and he disappeared. God took him. Pause. So while reading this, I learned where most people get mistaken. So if we go back to verse 4, so this is descending in chapter 5, these are the descendants of Seth. Um, yeah, they come from Adam, but through the lineage of Seth. Um, in Genesis chapter 4, towards the end, it talks about Cain descendants. So Adam descendants through the lineage of Cain. Cain did have a son named Enoch, but the Enoch that walked with God was not Cain's son. No. When Cain had Enoch, Cain was gone. He was cursed. He gone. He ended up building a city named after his son Enoch. So Cain's son Enoch and Enoch, Methuselah daddy that walked with God is not the same Enoch. They like cousins. They like long lost cousins. You know. This is uh this this Enoch that walked with God comes from the lineage of Seth, but the Enoch that comes from Cain is Seth's nephew, right? Yeah. So Boom, that was that. That's where most people get confused. And somebody tried to argue with me one time about that. And I'm just now coming into this knowledge. Like, oh, that wasn't the same Enoch. You're mistaken that. So after Enoch was 65 years old, he had a son named Methuselah. After Methuselah was born, Enoch walked with God for 300 years and had other sons and daughters. So Enoch lived a total of 365 years. One day, Enoch was walking with God and he disappeared. God took him. Verse 25, after Methuselah was 187 years old, he had a son named Lamech. After Lamech was born, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. So Methuselah lived a total of 969 years. Then he died. Methuselah is the longest living person in the Bible. Pause. So Seth got descendants. He got two descendants so far, I'm seeing. He got two descendants, Enoch and Lamech, with the same names that come from Cain descendant. Because Lamech, remember Lamech in chapter 4 where he was like, look, you wise of Lamech, I did it to somebody who tried to do it to me, basically. That was Lamech coming from, that was uh, Cain's great great grandson. But over here, this is Seth. This is Seth's lineage, his descendants. And he also got a Lamech. But this Lamech comes from Methuselah, which is Enoch's son, the one that walked with God. Boom. So we got that cleared through. Two different people, same names. Verse 28, when Lamech was 182 years old, he had a son. Lamech named his son Noah. Lamech said, we work very hard as farmers because God cursed the ground, but Noah will bring us rest. After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had other sons and daughters. So Lamech lived a total of 777 years. Then he died. Verse 32, our last verse. After Noah was 500 years old, he had sons named Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah, you pick a fine time to want to have children. 500 years old, you half of 1,000 at this point. Like, okay, so basically these are the firstborns. When we in chapter 5 where it talks about Adam's history, which is Seth lineage, these are the firstborns of Seth lineage because it says like once they get this age they had a child, but then they end up having other sons and daughters too. So this is like the firstborns of the lineage. That's what I'm getting. Y'all let me know. But yeah, that's our reading for today. Genesis chapter 4, chapter 5. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that, what y'all get from it. Fellowship. Yeah, so we're gonna try to keep this up. We're supposed to come back tomorrow and do what we got tomorrow, January 3rd. We got Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 through Genesis chapter 8, verse 22. So yeah, be back on tomorrow. Let's get devoted with me. We're gonna try to keep this up on this 1 year Bible plan. So by the end of the year, we should have read this whole entire Bible. And this is just this the King James Version Bible. I'm not reading from the Bible. I'm just following the guide of the 1 year Bible plan. And I done read this before. That's why it's highlighted already. That's why, yeah, you got them dates already highlighted. But this time I wanted to do it with community. And I don't want it to give teacher. I just wanted to read, fellowship over ideas. Y'all let me know what y'all get. Let y'all know what I get, kind of translate a little bit so we can understand. The Bible says, in all you're getting understanding. So that's what we're trying to do on today. And every day we read this Bible, we're trying to get an understanding. We're trying to comprehend, not just read our Bible, but comprehend and grow closer to God. That's the goal. So yeah, I'm out, y'all. I love y'all and be back tomorrow.